The Empiricist is the autobiographical tale of one man's attempt to find meaning in life through a moralistic campaign against a medical establishment he believes to be arrogant and dangerous. Typically for an amateur vanity project, it's packed with deranged rhetoric,
medicine does not cure people,
and bad acting.
Turns out it was cancer, and to top it off, a rare type.
You just concentrate on getting well.
But what's unusual is the story behind the movie, and the extraordinary way its writer-director dealt with a common challenge to filmmakers. I'm critic and author Rob Hill, and I'm sitting on a lot of unused research and interviews. Released independently in 2003, The Empiricist depicts the gradual loss of faith in conventional medicine experienced by disgraced doctor Warren Metzler, who would ultimately come to the conclusion none of the patients he treated ever got any better, and that everything we think we know about medicine, from germ theory to the science behind metabolic testing, is wrong. Metzler decided doctors should treat patients holistically rather than just focusing on the cause of an ailment, and dedicated himself to homeopathy. Despite the FDA not approving homeopathic remedies in the US, some doctors still offer them.
I seldom need more than this.
But the law's clear they must be complementary to conventional treatment.
Or this.
In other words, you can try to mend a broken arm with essence of wolfsbane, but you have to set the bone first, just in case it doesn't work. Metzler was eventually stripped of his medical license by the New York Medical Board after the death of an HIV patient he'd been treating with homeopathy alone.
You kill the odd patient with cancer or heart disease.
He even revealed he didn't believe in disease.
But when someone comes in with a vague sense of unease or a touch of the nerves or even just more money than sense, he'll be there for them.
Unable to heal the sick, he turned apostle and dedicated himself to spreading what he saw as the good word on bad medicine. The Empiricist is the culmination of that calling, a polemical primal scream from a man who thinks he knows best and can't understand why nobody's listening.
But you know, technically speaking, all the world could be wrong about something.
Metzler himself chose to direct, produce, edit, and co-write, while also being credited as grip, sound mixer, post-production supervisor, gaffer, set dresser, and project administrator. With no previous experience in any of those disciplines, the results are comprehensively ugly.
There's been gazillions of experiments done over the past 130 years.
The film starts by showing us three of medical history's great heroes discussing their key breakthroughs. We get evolutionary biologist Charles Darwin in a gale.
I admit that as of yet, we found no transition species.
Father of genetics Gregor Mendel in a bathrobe.
I believe that God created the world.
And vaccination architect Louis Pasteur in a joke shop beard.
By the way, have I mentioned that the Emperor and Empress have invited me to join them on their summer holidays in the South?
No, you didn't.
Metzler will go on to discredit the work of all these scientists in favor of theories proposed by Antoine Béchamp.
And then he goes and develops a serum made from the blood of animals with anthrax.
A discredited chemist who believed bacteria to be decomposing human cells in a transition phase on their way to becoming soil. Loved the idea of casting this guy to play this guy. Eventually the movie proper begins, and for a while it's a standard issue, let's kill time in corridors kind of production. The lighting's horrible, but the cinematography's worse, and it's often used in conjunction with the blocking to make sure we can't see who's talking.
We were slaves compared to you guys today.
Or with the peculiar editing to unsettle us.
You went to see Eileen, didn't you?
How'd you know?
But the editing is also our friend, because Metzler uses it to cut lumps from the middle of any scene that runs too long.
The hairline fracture across the groove of the middle. But anyway, they expect to transfer it to the wards later on today or later on.
Some filmmakers achieve the same effect by writing shorter scenes. Then there's the strangely benign dialogue and performances.
You look well rested. Had a good night's sleep?
You know, actually I did. I got a full night, my first full nights in a long time. I've forgotten how pleasurable sleep could be.
And we also get a lot of this kind of thing.
Well, you just crush this little organism with a slide and a cover slip, and then you...
But none of that is what makes The Empiricist such a unique landmine in the battlefield of bad movie what-the-fuckery. I'll let the man himself explain that.
Over halfway through the shooting phase, the actor who was assigned to play Dr. Winston Beaumont, one of our two lead characters, began to portray Winston's personality in a way that was quite incompatible from how Winston was written in the script.
Why don't they just get robots to dispense the drugs and eliminate us physicians?
And so we chose to part ways. This, of course, left us with a major dilemma. Then an inspiration arose. Shoot Winston's remaining scenes with a different actor and have both actors play Winston in the finished movie. We recognized this was a revolutionary approach, but inwardly we felt it could work. And so we went with the two-actor option.
It isn't a revolutionary approach. Even putting aside the obvious artistic and practical examples of the two-actor option, many filmmakers have been forced to recast a role during production and then find a way to use footage of both actors in the final movie. When Heath Ledger died while filming the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, it prompted a creative flourish from director Terry Gilliam, who drafted in 3 conspicuous replacements and gave each their own strand of the movie. Ed Wood infamously managed less well when Bela Lugosi expired during production on Plan 9 from Outer Space, and the hapless filmmaker replaced him with his girlfriend's chiropractor.
It's uncanny.
Bizarrely, Dr. Tom Mason was chosen because his ears looked like Lugosi's. His face didn't though, and he spends the whole movie holding his cape over it. Metzler couldn't really take either approach. Gilliam's requires a whimsical subject, and Wood's is really stupid. Instead, he stumbles into an incredible middle ground. Again, it's probably best if he explains himself.
In the finished movie, the two actors who play Winston alternate many times. But to avoid having this alternating be uncomfortable or undesirable or confusing to you, the viewer, we've done the following. Each time one of the actors who plays Winston's changes, we introduce the incoming actor with a subtitle.
No, you didn't.
We apologize for this inconvenience and hope that you enjoy the movie.
Thanks. But doesn't that mean... Oh, presumably it only happens a couple of times. Oh. So the Winstons repeatedly switch places, and to avoid it becoming a distraction, we're told each time. It's like watching a David Lynch film with the script notes mistakenly rendered on screen. And it gets weirder. When they're not in scrubs, the actors wear their own clothes, with Salter Giddens' dress sense effectively making him skate park Winston, and Stephen Clark's making him garden centre Winston, which doesn't help with our suspension of disbelief in moments like this, an actual transition in the movie. In a way, the changing clothes make less sense than the changing actors, because costume is key to characterization in a way facial features often aren't. We can buy different actors as the same character, but if that character looks like they might want to protest a gay marriage one moment and enter into one the next, it prevents us from establishing a clear concept of them. The chopping and changing and on-screen credits are funny every time, particularly when they're mistakenly informing us of a cast change that hasn't happened, as here. But it's all just a preamble to Metzler's death blow. In this scene, Winston meets former patient Paul Bolstrom. The first part of the sequence is set in this corridor, and as you can see, just about, Salter Giddens is playing the doctor. But by the time it came to shoot the second part of the sequence, set in a neighbouring conference room, Giddens had been replaced as Winston by Stephen Clark. Eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed a potential problem brewing back in the corridor. That's Stephen Clark as Paul Bolstrom. He's already in the first shot of the scene as a different character.
Why not? I got all the time in the world.
Confused? Imagine what it was like on set. This is the point at which the two parts of the sequence meet.
The conference room is empty. Why don't we go in there so we won't be disturbed? It's
Sounds good.
over here.
Why don't you take this chair?
Let's be clear. In the opening shot, Clark is playing Bolstrom and Giddens is playing Winston. But when we dissolve into the second shot, Giddens has disappeared, Clark has switched to playing Winston, and an uncredited actor is now standing in for Clark as Bolstrom.
No, you didn't.
The only problem here is the corridor shot, because it features Giddens and he left the production. But what kind of decision tree leads to this solution? It's a single shot, so why not just do it over with these actors while filming the rest of the scene?
Good point.
There's no reason why it even needs to be set in the corridor. Could be anywhere, even the conference room. It's Bolstrom's only appearance, so there's nothing and no one else to match. And what's with the fake beard and wig? We might assume the intention was to make the stand-in Bolstrom look like Clark's Bolstrom, But Clark doesn't have a beard. He wears the same fake one in his corridor shot, which means that whoever played him, Bolstrom was supposed to sit here in this ridiculous beard. Why?
I don't have an answer for that.
And if they gave this guy a wig in order to make him look like Clark, why does it look nothing like Clark's hair? The questions are endless.
Let's do it again.
I've written about how outside of vanity filmmakers can inadvertently reveal more about the human condition than apparently legitimate artists might, because they tend to lack the emotional awareness to realise how much of themselves they're giving away.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Metzler is one of those filmmakers, and his movie is every bit as revealing as those of his more celebrated peers.
I've been awarded every medal.
I don't know if that's a recommendation. The Empiricist is an acquired taste and not for the faint-hearted. But it's also unique, sincere, and endearingly childish.
Today, I want to review many of the incredible discoveries that Pasteur has discovered.